class, I'm Jenna White, and my journal article is entitled Exploring Cosmetic Regulations, Color Additives, and Cosmetics as Drugs. Now, I got into this topic because I love cosmetics, and cosmetics by no means are just makeup items. Cosmetics also are your skincare, hair care, body care, toothpaste, deodorants, things like that. It's things that you and I use on a daily basis, and things that are probably sitting on your bathroom counter right now. Also, about a year ago, I got super invested in learning about ingredients, specifically ingredients in my skincare. I wanted to learn what was good for me and what was bad for me, and I also wanted to learn how to read the ingredient labels that are on the back of the products in the boxes. So, in conducting my research, I had discovered that the FDA actually does not really regulate our skincare items. The only thing that is regulated in our cosmetics is the color additives inside. And now, a color additive is just a dye or pigment that is used to transfer color from one thing to the next. So, like for example, in lemonade we have regular lemonade and pink lemonade, and what makes pink lemonade pink is just a color additive that is used to transfer color. So on top of this, I also discovered in the 1930s there was a case in which a woman ended up buying and using an eyebrow and eyelash tint, and she ended up getting injured in around her eye area, and she ended up suing the company for damages. Now, during this trial, it was discovered that there were 3 color additives used in this product that were found to be dangerous and harmful for use on the skin as well as the eye area. She ended up winning that case because of the color additives that were used inside and how they harmed her. This is where this topic of regulations came about, but it wasn't until 30 years later, in the 1960s, when the Federal Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act was passed. Now, this act contained something called the Delaney Clause, and the Delaney Clause limits the usage of carcinogenic color additives to be used in our cosmetic items specifically. So any color additive that is going to be allowed for use has to be listed as safe. Safe just means it has gone through all of its testing and it is found that it is not harmful and it does not carry any carcinogens. So with this Delaney Clause, we were limiting the amount of cancer-causing ingredients in our skincare items. However, the FDA did not believe in the scope of the Delaney Clause, and they also believed that there was wording involved that allowed for something called the de minimis exception. Now, this came to fruition in a case in which public citizens ended up suing because the FDA had allowed for the listings of 2 color additives that were found to have a minimal cancer risk involved in them. So the courts ended up siding with these public citizens and found that the Delaney Clause ended up not carrying a de minimis exception at all. In fact, there was a no risk issue, and if any color additive posed a risk, it was not going to be allowed to be safe for use. With the creation of these color additives, we saw a huge decrease in color additives available for use. In the 50s and 60s, there was about 200 color additives that were being used in our food, drugs, and cosmetics. And after these regulations came into place, that number fell from 200 to 34. Now, it was believed at that time that a lot of these color additives actually fell off the list because the company themselves had to pay for the testing to find out whether or not these color additives were safe. The FDA had nothing to do with that. It was all up to the company, and it was believed that these companies did not want to have to pay all of this money to get a color additive tested, and therefore color additives were just taken off the list and deemed unsafe. Now, there is an exemption to these color additive regulations also. Coal tar is used in some hair dyes, specifically box dyes, and the FDA is well aware of the risks involved in these coal tar dyes, but they still allow for them to be used in our cosmetics, specifically in our hair dyes. So these are allowed to be used as long as there is a warning on the box or somewhere in this product that a consumer will see that just says that there's a risk involved in this product and to patch test for safety first. This was a problem when L'Oreal was sued by a customer who ended up using one of their box dyes that they got at a retail store. And the woman, after using it, ended up finding that part of her forehead was dyed by the product. And about a year later, after trying to treat that, the product that was stained had been stained permanently and was changing colors, as well as a part of her eyebrow had turned white. Now, L'Oreal was found not liable for any of her injuries due to the fact that they did follow these regulations and did have a patch test label warning in the product. Cosmetics can also cross over into being a dual cosmetic and drug item. Now, to be a drug, it has to be found to alter a function of the human body as well as cure or treat something, such as wrinkles or acne or things like that. The product has to be found to do that. So an example would be deodorants. Deodorants that have antiperspirant in it are a drug as well as a cosmetic item. Same goes with toothpaste that have anti-cavity ingredients in them. Now, this overlap actually became a problem when companies, specifically marketers, started using trigger words. Now, trigger words are words like tighten the skin, firm the skin, smooth the skin, and anti-wrinkle creams were specifically targeted in all of this. So L'Oreal was also actually sued for their entire Revitalift collection for using these trigger words. These words ended up leading consumers to believe that this Revitalift collection was going to cure their wrinkles, and using terms like that is what would deem it to be a drug. Now, these items were actually not drugs, and they were just cosmetics that were marketed incorrectly. Now, if a product does fall into both categories, being both a cosmetic and a drug, it goes through stricter regulations than that of just a flat-out cosmetic. So now it has to go through both the cosmetic side of the regulations as well as the drug side of the regulations. And the drug side is much, much harsher. So the product actually has to get pre-approval by the FDA to be used and sold, as well as the company has to prove the effectiveness of this product as well as the safetyness of this product. So the company has to basically prove that this product is going to fix or cure whatever it is intended to fix or cure. I wanted to see how these regulations affected consumers and if they affected consumers at all. So I ended up discovering that the FDA, as well as some political figures, believed that cosmetics posed little to no threat to consumers in any manner, and basically the FDA was allowed to have the cosmetic industry self-regulate itself to save money and resources. From all these regulations came about the Fair Packaging and Labeling Act. This act basically stated that if a product was going to be sold to consumers in the retail setting, not the professional setting, but the retail setting, that the product was required to include a label indicating what ingredients were used in this product, as well as any warning labels stating what ingredients in this product was not safety tested, as well as the patch test warning if it was needed. This ended up creating a smarter consumer. Consumers were now allowed to see what was inside of their products and learn what these ingredients were and decide for themselves if this product was something that they wanted to use and found to be safe. All in all, I do believe that we have started to head in the right direction. However, we still have a long way to go. Cosmetics are still not as safe as they should be. The FDA allows this industry to self-regulate itself, which leads consumers on the bottom of this totem pole. Consumers still have to be wary about some ingredients that they use, some ingredients that they mix together, things like that. And that's not public knowledge. While this legislation does in fact help these products and help keep consumers safe, there is still much, much more that can be done to help consumers, as well as help companies from being liable to any injury that is done to consumers.